Two brothers and a shot of milk. That's right, you heard me right. We're two brothers, missing Lawrence St. Victor, but we're talking TV, movies, video games, comic book, action figures, and so much more. I'm Jack Walker Pearson. We do have Christopher St. Victor, the better of the St. Victors, arguably. Let's see what Lawrence
Agreed.
has to say about that. And Richard Wilson. Today,
Wait. Rich, how come you're the only one who gets the
Right?
round of applause? We don't
I
get
got the
nothing.
power. I got the power. That's why.
he's got
got
the
the
power.
gold.
Today, we're talking about the Blue Beetle, the DCE film that just dropped, Blue Beetle. But before we get into all that, gentlemen, how have your weeks been? What have you been up to? What have you been reading, watching, playing, building? What have you been up to?
What you been building, Chris?
Oh, check this out. My painting skills are getting better. I built this Hulk, and I painted his face, and I painted his grimace.
His teeth look great.
Thank you. So I've been using my my handy dandy magnifying light. So I did that. Did I show you guys Black He-Man last time?
Black Man?
He-Man?
Yeah.
Just be
Oh, okay.
So I built that, and then that's about it. I bought a bunch of comics. Now, Jack, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it seems like it'd be right up your alley. But so we found this half-price bookstore. So there's this new comic with Keanu Reeves called Berserk that I picked up. That I thought Jack may like if he would ever read comics every once in a while.
I've never heard of it.
No, I didn't think you would have ever heard of it. But so I picked
Is that
it up.
the first issue, or is that
It's the first. It's number one. It's the first
volume.
trade. So
Nice.
I saw it, and I say that just because if you ever listen to our show, this Jack swears by this. He talks about it every chance he gets.
Mhm.
And I figure I'm traveling all week next week, so I bought some comics, and this was one of the comics that I bought.
That's a good one. The one I swear by is actually called Berserk, which is a manga. It's a little different, but that's the Keanu Reeves Berserker comic, which is also very good. And there was supposed to be a Netflix show of it, but with all the strikes, who knows?
We will see what happens with the writer strikes. But yeah, that's me. That's my thing.
Rich,
My week, has just been a week. I really haven't done anything. Yesterday I started playing Dead Island 2. I've been putting that off for quite some time.
How is it?
Didn't get far. I mean, it's Dead Island. It's all right so far. What else? I really haven't been watching any. Oh no, I've been watching Walking Dead, the New York Walking Dead. It's all right. You get more Negan, which never a bad thing getting Negan. He's a little softer than he was before, but he's still there. What else? That's it. That's Baki Hama. I've been trying to get through that. That one's kind of. I haven't been watching my Zom 100. Ooh, I started watching Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War. Season 2's out, and man, it's hitting. Y'all need to get on that. And that's it.
not bad.
What's going on with you, Jack?
Well, I'm in the middle of a tropical storm. Apparently, it was
How are you doing? Because it's supposed to be the apocalypse, according to the news.
I can only talk from where I am at specifically, and I can't talk about anything that's happening anywhere other than where I'm at. Where I'm at, it's pretty okay. It's moderately windy, and there's some rain coming down. Now, we also just had a little earthquake, also nothing to write home about, but it's supposed to get worse before it gets better, but right now it's not looking too bad. So I'm doing good. I haven't watched a lot this week. I've been watching a show called Suits, which I wouldn't even say is content adjacent for us.
Everybody's hyped on Suits. Is it just because it's on Netflix? I don't know why, but everyone's talking about Suits.
Yeah, it's a courtroom. Well, it's a lawyer show. It's on Netflix. It came out in the
It's been out for a while.
2012s, I want to say something like that.
Yeah.
Came out a while. Yeah, it came out a while ago. It's pretty good. The writing's good. The acting's good. It's pretty fast paced, so it's an enjoyable kind of show. I've been watching that. Other than that, what I've actually been doing this week is just a bunch of toy modifications.
Oh, let's see. Let's see.
So I won't get too into some stuff, but I wouldn't call this a modification, but it is a great crossover. And how this never became a thing, I just don't know. But like, so like that's a mashup.
That's cool.
But then I was doing stuff like this. So I got that Doomsday Superman figure, and I made him arguably so much better. It's ridiculous. And the first thing I did to improve the figure is I got rid of his ponytail. His hair was literally in a bun coming out the top of his head. So
He's a hipster villain.
I scalped him. I got rid of the ponytail and I glued it to the back of his head where it's supposed to be. And instantly he started feeling a little more like appropriate. And then
What are you
obviously,
using to cut it off, Jack? A Dremel or a razor blade or?
in this case, I use this guy who just happens to still be here.
Just a regular old utility knife.
Just a regular old knife. Now, I would say if you're using knives, ladies and gentlemen, be careful. But if you got a Doomsday, cut that damn ponytail off, because what is going on? I could not get behind it. But I'll tell you, the second I cut his hair off and replaced it, started feeling a whole lot happier about the guy. And then the other thing, and there's a whole video, I'll post it. It's kind of long. But I made the Superman look a whole lot more like he's fighting Doomsday.
Damn, Jack.
All right.
I pulled out the comic and I was like, what were the signature things that McFarlane just kind of overlooked? And he had these two giant gashes on his legs by the end of the battle, and I couldn't get as involved with his chest because his S was literally like kind of ripped across him. So I would have done that, but I didn't do that. But I added this gash, his whole arm's jacked up, which started happening halfway through the fight. And obviously I had to put the S on the back of his cape because this is the iconic Superman versus Doomsday fight. How do you not put a S on the back of his cape? I just couldn't get behind it.
That looks great, man.
I don't know what that was. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's way improved. Anyway, so that was my week, mostly just toy mods. And the other toy mod, I'll show you next week. I took that Batman from the Batman movie, the most recent one, and I'm turning him into a Berserk figure. Nice. So we'll see how that turns out. It's going to require all of my skills.
There you go. I don't doubt you'll come through. You'll deliver on that.
You know what else I'd like to have delivered on? Chris, I need a good laugh.
So, without Lawrence here, Rich and I are starting to do things. So when Lawrence is not here, I don't come up with it. We just leave it to chance. Hey, Alexa, tell me a superhero joke.
Why did Spider-Man invest in the stock market? To turn his Spidey sense into Spidey dollars. For more Spidey fun, swing.
Alexa, stop.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop it all. Just stop it all.
Well, it's not bad.
No.
It's not bad.
It had sound effects, so.
That's true. It did. Rich, I got nothing.
I got nothing either.
Well, then let's redeem that segment and let's head on down to the Collector's Corner. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's show and tell time. Here at the Collector's Corner, we're taking toys out of our trunks, video games out of our vaults, comic books from our cases, and we're showing them to the world. They can be worth millions of dollars or just sentimental.
Or in Jack's case, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Ladies?
I'll go first. Who you calling ladies, first of all? I was getting, why do I keep forgetting the name of this place? Anyway, place in the Palisades Mall. Goodfellows or Fellow something. And I saw that they have, they got a bunch of figures and everything like that. And I saw that they have like figures out of the box and they sell them separately. So I saw these guys, they were about like $14.99, it's like $15. And I was like, one of them I wanted because I was looking for it before and I regretted not getting them in the store. The only difference is with this one is he doesn't come with the extra head and I think like extra hands. And that was Wolverine in his yellow and brown.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, because I got him in the blue that I showed y'all like way back when. And he comes with the extra heads or whatever. He comes with one without a mask, and this one with the mask. So, yeah, so I found this guy, and then in the same case, I saw this guy. I saw him in gray,
Oh,
so I
I
picked him
like the
up.
gray suit.
Yeah,
It looks nice.
and
I got
then
the same one in yellow.
I saw Old Man Logan. I was like,
Sick.
yeah.
Oh shoot! I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, so I'm like, let me grab him too. And I know he comes. He has to come with extra set of hands because his gun comes out of the holster, so that more than likely goes into a hand. But yeah, I saw these. I'm like, yo, these are dope. And I like the look on his. He's like grimacing and whatnot, or like really like mean looking.
It's
But
a
yeah,
good look figure.
yeah. And the jacket kind of comes off. Not come off, but it's like a little like kind of pliable. So
Whenever they use mixed media, or you have like a soft material versus the hard plastic, it's always
yeah.
cool to me.
Yeah, so that was pretty dope. I saw those. I'm like, yeah, let me grab those. And while I was there, I noticed that the that my Thanos and Tony Stark Endgame figures in the package, I can get me a cool 120. So I'm like, all right, we
Ooh,
doing good right now.
Yeah,
take that guap.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all I got.
those are sick. I really
Oh,
like
actually,
that
wait. I
design.
got one more. I got one more thing. One more thing. Because we talking about Blue Beetle. I got I picked up a Blue Beetle pop variant, limited chase,
Oh,
glows in the
sick.
dark.
That's dope.
Yeah, so we got that bad boy. I'm like, might as well, right? All right. So yeah, that's it. That's what we got.
Very nice, Chris.
Nice. In honor of there we go. In honor of Blue Beetle, I'm actually showing off my Blue Beetle. Not the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, but the what's his name? Tom Cord
Ted. Yeah.
Blue
Okay.
Beetle. The one that they actually showed in the they show him in the that they show his suit in the movie.
Right.
So this is my Blue Beetle figure that I bought. Rich, is that store Funny Business in Nyack still around?
I have no idea.
There's a comic book store in downtown Nyack next to the pizza place everyone goes to after they're blistered.
Oh, well, there's something there. I don't know the name of it though, but yeah,
Yeah.
we stopped in there one time.
So I bought it from there. So they had a bunch of open box figures, a bunch of prototype figures, and I bought this figure there years ago. So
Okay.
Sick.
that's my Blue Beetle
It's a
figure.
good
It
looking
what's cool
sculpture.
about him is it's tough to see but the lenses of the eyes are clear, so you see through like clear yellow plastic, and you can see actually his eyes. And he has a holster that had a gun, but the gun has been lost to the years. So who knows?
Nice.
Fun fact: he's actually the second Blue Beetle.
Interesting.
All right.
We'll
And this
get
is
into
pre
all that.
McFarlane too. It's a pre McFarlane figure. This is I don't know, maybe it's Mattel. It's when they had the the DC Direct, one of the DC Direct figures.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
What is this one?
that's it for me. What about you, Jack? What you got?
Where's Mattel?
All right. Well, today I'm showing I sold a bunch of my dad's toys to send money back home to my mom and whatnot, so they can kind of cover bills and stuff. But I kept a couple,
Okay.
and so what I'm gonna show today is they're not significantly valuable by any means, but yeah, kind of. I kept them because I thought they were cool and they're kind of sentimental. My dad was a Navy man back in the day. He was in the Vietnam War, served on one of those destroyers.
Wow.
Okay.
They kept him in the boiler room shoveling coal for the most part. That's the story for another time, though. But so I kept these Popeye figures because Popeye's a sailor man.
Yeah.
So these are some 90s Popeyes
Oh
toys.
shoot!
Okay.
And what's cool about him is he actually had the whole set. So that's Bruno looking big in his classic get up, and he's got a 2,000-pound weight and some barbells here,
All right.
dumbbell looking things. Then we got Olive
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the kid.
Is that Popeye's kid? Do we know
Yeah,
that?
I think so.
Is it?
It better be Popeye's kid or Olive Oil got some explaining to do.
Oh yeah. Then we got the
Wimpy.
guy who's always eating the hamburgers.
Yep.
And these figures are just like pretty fun little sculpts. And then of course we got Popeye.
Let me see Popeye. You guys remember the Popeye movie that came out in the 90s?
Yeah, with
With,
Rob Williams.
Robert Williams. Yeah.
And then this is the last one in the series. So he had all 5 of them, which was cool. So I decided to just keep them in honor of him being a sailor.
That's cool.
But then the other reason I want to show him today is since we're talking about Blue Beetle, and we'll get into all this. I was surprised just how old the Blue Beetle character is. But Popeye popped off in, I believe it was 1920. I had to write it down. 1929 was Popeye. So Popeye is arguably one of the older comic book characters, although not superhero, but kind of gains superhero powers when he eats that spinach. So
Yeah.
kind of a OG as far as our content is
But he was
concerned.
still kind of strong before he popped the spinach.
Of course, but he gained wild strength
Yeah.
after he popped the spinach. So though, and this one comes with spinach. Actually, I think both of the Popeyes do. How could a Popeye figure not come with spinach?
Hey, you have to have the spinach.
You gotta have the spinach. And man, I tell you what, I couldn't eat spinach as a kid. I tried it. I love Popeye. I love the cartoon as a kid. I ate spinach one time and I gave it right back.
Yeah.
I was like, hey man, I'll enjoy the cartoon, but not the food.
Spinach is trash, but I still eat it because it needs to be eaten.
Spinach is fine. It's peas that are there. That's the.
Listen, I like spinach in its
Peas is good. What you talking about?
There are a lot of peas to pick from.
Green peas are the worst.
I don't know about that.
What?
But I prefer spinach not in a can. Like, give it to me in its leafy variety, and I'm pretty okay.
Yeah. I give you that.
Well, all right. I guess that was show and tell.
Oh, fun fact: Sweet Pea was an adoptive kid.
Adopted?
Adopted. Showed up on his doorstep.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, it's the 1920s, man. Half the kids out there was little Oliver Twists.
Yeah, I guess I see that.
And the first appearance was July 24th, 1933.
And that just July 21st.
24th, 1933.
For the kid?
For the kid, yeah, for Sweet Pea. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, my dad adopted everyone who ever came across his path, so there's that too, I guess.
Nice. All right.
On that note, I think it's time to venture into the only place suitable for...
You need to stop.
Time for Anime Alley with Richard Wilson.
That deep, dark alley.
The deep, dark alley.
Hold on.
Speaking of dark.
Who do we have? Darkness.
Oh! Lawrence St. Victor in the house, a.k.a. still going as Chris, a.k.a. Black Bruce Wayne. You got the wrong name there, Lawrence.
You gotta figure this thing out.
We're going to give him the applause.
Yo, look at this room he's in. Ladies
What?
and gentlemen,
Where are you?
The office is not together yet.
You look like you have old money, Lawrence. That's what you look like.
Really.
I look like what?
You look like you have old money in your study with your stained glass windows.
This is a come
Yo, for real.
It's a mess right now, but it's coming together, man. It's coming together. So, but wait. On YouTube, you guys were on Collector's Corner, and I wanted to show my item, and then I got to jump off and be a dad.
Let's go back. Let's bring it back.
But first, I can't believe y'all didn't say pause to what Rich said.
What'd I say?
It's crazy. You said something about spinach. You just got to get it in your mouth. You said something crazy.
You just got to get it down. First of all, calm down.
And
Calm down.
I'm like, no one called pause on that?
Nope.
But yo, I got mine. Let me find the light. My Batman Hush.
Oh, sick.
Harlan figure, man. This might be the best blue and gray Batman figure. Comes with a hand that has a kryptonite ring. Dope.
Pouchy belt.
Sick. Pouchy. I love a pouchy belt.
So pouchy.
Pouchy belt, man. But yo,
so pouchy.
Dope figure. Didn't want to be left.
It's like glossy. Is the cape glossy?
It's got a shine to it, but you know what? It also has, find some better light. It also has some shading on the bottom.
Look at his office, guys.
All right.
It's coming together. It's
He's not even in the office. He's in his study, Jack.
in
He's
my
taking us
study.
to church on Sundays.
Hey,
In his
man,
study.
y'all have something y'all need to confess. But that's my Batman. Speaking of confession, Rich, go ahead and tell us what you're doing in that alley. And
Oh, here we
I'm
go.
gonna get off.
You need to
That's what
stop.
she said.
So
Wow.
anyway,
I'm gonna listen to y'all on YouTube. Peace.
all right.
At least we got one person streaming it.
Yeah.
Peace.
Letters.
So, like I said earlier, looking at the 1,000-year blood war, Bleach season 2. Listen, if you haven't looked at season 1, you need to. It gets some new information about Ichigo for those who don't follow the manga, because I'm pretty sure it's already out there with the manga. Whatever. For everyone who's just watching the anime, you get new information about Ichigo, new powers, new abilities. The Soul Society gets wrecked, and then they got to come back. I'm not going to say too much, but season 2's out right now, and it's still dope because season 1 ended off pretty dope. I suggest everyone get into that. And yeah, that's it. I'll watch it on Hulu, and I think it might be on Crunchyroll, but I know it's definitely on Hulu. And if you get into it now, you might get into some of the dubs. But even though it's not all out right now, so you're going to get the subtitles before the dubs. Just read. It's better anyway. And reading is fundamental.
Lawrence isn't here to rebuttal that, but we know Chris doesn't
we
watch
all know
anime.
Lawrence can't read. But the question for me is, how rich is it?
Nope.
It's a good watch. You should go watch it. Okay?
It's Bleach.
It's Bleach. Exactly. Thank you, Jack. It's Bleach. Don't talk to this heathen about anime anyway.
I'm just asking how rich it is. I'm trying to expand my knowledge, expand my anime past Dragon Ball Z
Get some help.
Ultra and Robotech. And that's it. Not watch anything else. Period.
Oh,
Maybe
listen, I think it's time for a debate. It's what I think it is.
Is it time for the debate?
No, it's a news. It's news.
Oh, is it news?
Yeah, we do news.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's do the news then.
Let's do the news. So, let me
Why
open
did
up.
it say haha?
Yeah. So, Scott Pilgrim is getting a Netflix animated series. So, did you guys remember Scott Pilgrim is a manga title?
Yep.
It was
One
an
of the only good
awesome
ones.
movie that felt like it jumped
good
out
one.
of video games, 8-bit video
Fantastic.
games. And now it's getting a Netflix animated series. But there's the creators saying that it will not follow the series verbatim.
Okay.
So I don't know how you guys feel about that. I haven't read any of it, so I don't care. But I love the movie, so
Yeah, the movie was dope. A lot of cameos of heroes before they became heroes.
yes, that's true. That's a good point. Apple TV is developing a MonsterVerse with their first title being Godzilla.
Oh.
I feel like this has been attempted.
Isn't this what Tom Cruise tried to do?
Yes. Well, no. To be fair, there was a Universal MonsterVerse, which was going to be The Mummy. I think they had a garbage Dracula movie that came out that nobody watched.
Wait.
So they were going to. Yeah, they were.
How is that in the MonsterVerse? Isn't that? Aren't they doing their own thing with Godzilla?
The Universal MonsterVerse is not to be confused with this MonsterVerse that these guys are doing. So, but Apple TV is creating their own thing. It's going to be Godzilla. Godzilla's the first one. I'm assuming King Kong is coming out. And I'm curious to see who else they're going to have. But yeah, they're.
Wait. But my question is, who else is even on the viable list after those two?
I don't know.
I mean, you're looking for monsters the size of buildings at this point.
Right. So you're going to have what? All Godzilla's villains?
Well, that's not much of a monster verse. It's just a Godzilla verse.
Look,
And even
I'm
King
just
Kong is already in the Godzilla verse.
Look, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do past King Kong and Godzilla, but they're going to do something. But they're calling it a MonsterVerse. And it's based upon legendary entertainment. And I don't know. I don't feel like there's enough past Godzilla and Godzilla's villains and King Kong. Who else can you name?
Nessie?
Yeah, I guess you're reaching. I don't know what they're gonna do, but
Not unless they're gonna get the Rampage monsters. What are we talking about?
yeah, but I don't even know if that's not shared IP. I don't know what they're gonna do.
No.
You know, I think calling it a universe may be a little ambitious. Maybe they're just saying, that we're developing monster content, but they refer to it as a monster verse.
It's legendary.
Yeah,
Well,
legendary.
that's easy enough to kind of backlog their IP and see what monsters are even candidates.
I mean, Kong, Godzilla, Kong, more Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla, Godzilla, Mothra.
Mantis, Mothra, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but that's all. Yeah, unless they
Right.
build it around the Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla has a lot of. Godzilla's been around since what, the 50s? So there's a ton of.
Yeah,
That-
but they're all just they're gods. It's a Godzilla. Anyways, I think we've labored this bit of news.
So
Well, you'll have to follow up next week.
you have to follow up.
We
Yeah,
have to do a
I'll
little
give you
research
guys
on
a
it.
follow up once I know. Once I'll be checking every day of what's going on with Apple TV's MonsterVerse.
Thank
So
goodness.
don't worry. Next, Warrior Nun was canceled. Now I don't know if you guys watched.
Boo.
Not Warrior Nuns.
I like Warrior Nun. Did you guys watch Warrior Nun?
I watched season
Didn't
1.
you just
and I
see our
was like,
reaction?
Yeah, I watched season 1. That's it.
Season
Just
2
season
came out. Did you watch season 2?
No, I
And
fell
that's
off
why
on
it's
season 1.
canceled.
How long? Season 1 came out like during the pandemic. That's
You're
the
right.
only reason why I
And
watched
that's
it.
the problem is that I began watching season 2 and I remember nothing of what happened.
Like I don't
So,
care
what
about
the
these
heck?
people.
Yeah, who are these people? What the hell is going on? But
Listen, there's going to be a whole lot more cancellations with.
Jack,
stadium.
don't worry. They're coming out with a movie trilogy to finish up the Warrior Nun saga.
What?
So
Okay.
we're getting a Warrior Nun trilogy.
Are they recasting it?
I don't know, man.
Is
Probably
this like?
not.
Is this like when Firefly turned into?
Oh yeah.
Serenity?
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Serenity. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I got introduced to that series was because of the movie, and then
Me
it
too.
made me go back to watch the series.
too.
And I was like, "Yo, this is
That's yeah.
How did I
Let's
miss
talk
this?
about Firefly instead.
Firefly was pretty dope,
Billion
man."
fans. Yeah, I never watched Firefly. Was that cult hit that only got one season, right?
Right.
Think
That's
so,
why they
yeah.
got the movie.
Yeah.
And it was great. it was
was.
steampunk. It was
Yeah.
great.
Oh man, all the great stuff. Anyway, keep going,
Yeah.
Chris.
And
So-
another Canadian national treasure at the helm of that film.
Sure.
Oh, Nathan's from Canada. Man,
America Junior.
I tell you. All right, just doing it. Up there.
Looks like Pipe Dream Entertainment, who's apparently watching our content. Thanks for supporting Pipe Dream. Is a big Warrior Nuns fan.
Good.
You
At
don't-
least
you don't care.
there's tens of us who watch Warrior
they,
Nun.
They don't.
Tens
care.
Right.
of us.
Man,
So
And the next bit of
Pipe-
news.
I wonder if Pipe Dream Entertainment watched season 2. Probably not.
yeah.
He's definitely not watching season 3.
Definitely not. Didn't watch season 2. Wolverine and Predator are getting a crossover comic book, and the art was dropped, and it looks dope.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm like, yo, this looks pretty good. I don't know when I have
Right?
time to buy it and read it, but it looks good.
So
You could
I
do
saw-
one or the other, then.
Yeah.
I saw an excerpt from it, and Wolverine said something along the lines: "Is I thought I was, the toughest or the greatest fighter, and now I found out that I was wrong."
That's
And-
so lame. I mean, also, predators don't heal like that.
They don't.
But look, I'm for it. Wolverine fighting Predator is gonna be dope. Look,
Is going to
any
be doper than
crossover-
Batman fighting Predator?
I had that. Look, all the crossovers are never that great. It's always the same storyline. Something happened where it tore a line between their two worlds, or blah blah blah, and then they came together. Now they fight, and then they become best friends, or one of them.
They
no
could
one
become
dies.
best friends because they got to fight aliens at the end of it.
Yeah, that's what's gonna
usually
happen.
what happens. Yeah.
But it's still gonna be cool. It's just me just wanted violence and stabbing and lasers, and it's gonna deliver what it promises.
It needs
So-
to be a movie.
Last thing I have today,
What, starring Hugh Jackman again?
maybe. Last thing I have is the movie that we're reviewing right now. Blue
Yeah.
Beetle is
Mhm.
certified fresh. 76% critics, and I think it's like 91% audience reviews.
How's
Wow.
it doing box office score?
I'll tell you right now, in fact.
It was doing all right last time I checked it.
How's it looking, Rich? You see?
Oh no, that was
Uh,
yesterday. I don't remember the numbers. But it said it was doing all right.
I don't know where it's
James
falling.
Gunn said he isn't making a young Superman movie. So for all you guys looking for a young Superman from Gunn, it ain't happening.
It's not.
It's not.
But they
Listen, you keep
cast
looking.
her.
I'm killing time right now. Keep looking up the numbers, man.
All right.
Jesus. Listen, and also Rebel Moon teaser trailer release date set by Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder, brother. Is that Milk? Jack, you like that Zack?
So
That's Zach, man. He's the visionary.
You
I'll watch
love
anything he.
that Zack.
I'll watch anything he makes at least once
And also Ahsoka's Disney Plus premiere date moved up
next week.
yes,
next
it did.
week. I'm excited about that. 2 episodes for the premiere. Let's go.
When is One Piece dropping? Is that next? That's this month, isn't it?
I'm holding my breath.
That I'm not sure.
So Blue Beetle is number 1 in the box office right now, squeaking out Barbie by $100,000. That's the power of Barbie. The timeless story about man's struggle in the world. Blue Beetle just eking it out by $100,000.
And that's after Barbie been in the box office for a couple weeks.
Right.
Okay,
Crazy.
well, yeah, that's pretty pretty
all right
there.
So should we go back to what we were doing before we got into this segment?
Let's
What
do
were we
it. 'Cause
doing?
that was the news, Jack.
All right, when that was the news. Stop smiling, Chris. Rich, stop laughing. Yada yada, this and that. Why is Lawrence always so angry? He's like so
I hope
angry.
Lawrence is still watching for the Lawrence impression.
Oh, that was good. I like that.
Like always, what's up? All right, it's time for a debate. Let's get ready to.
Oh,
Yeah.
we got to do that better. I'm sorry. Come on.
Let's get ready to.
Okay, I lost the
All right.
rumble part, but all right, there we go. We got it.
All right, so a lot of people are saying Blue Beetle feels kind of like a knockoff or mashup of characters like Spider-Man and Iron Man, which is funny and ironic to me because Blue Beetle was originally more like Captain America or the Phantom, and what a lot of those people don't know is Blue Beetle is actually one of the older comic book characters originating in August of 1939.
Wow.
Put that in perspective, Popeye came out 29, like we talked about. Buck Rogers also came out in 29. Flash Gordon came out in 34. Superman came out in 38. And Superman's an interesting one because he's actually the first comic book character to have superpowers. Everyone else was basically normal
regular
people.
dudes.
Right. And Blue Beetle is no different. Blue Beetle came out same year as Batman in 39. And Blue Beetle originally, he got powers from the Scarab.
Right.
And then when they rehashed him in the 80s, he didn't have powers at all. He was kind of a scientist like Batman or Iron Man, billionaire who created the tech. And now we have the third version of Blue Beetle who is getting powers from the Scarab, although it's from an alien origin, right? Captain America, 41, and Spider-Man and Iron Man didn't even come out till 62 and 63. So, that being said, the debate question is, who did it better and who would win in a fight? Blue Beetle versus Iron Man, Blue Beetle versus Spider-Man, Blue Beetle versus Batman. Billionaires, tech, and Spider-Man's on there because Blue Beetle, at least the new version of Blue Beetle, is a teenager and is kind of Spider-Man antics-esque, right?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we'll take it one at a time. Let's go current Blue Beetle versus Spider-Man. Who did it better? Who wins in a fight?
Yeah, so here's my Blue Beetle experience is really limited to this current Blue Beetle, to Jaime Reyes. I have experienced him in Young Justice and in this movie, which is the same Blue Beetle. Even though they always portray the Scarab as a world destroyer, the weak link in Blue Beetle is Jaime Reyes himself. Being an amateur, getting to understand how to use a Scarab, getting to understand how to use his powers, that's where I think the weakness comes in. So if we had an adult, advanced guy, it would be Blue Beetle every time because it's a world destroyer. That's how it was pitched in the movie. That's how it's been pitched in recent comics. That's how it's been pitched in the cartoons. The Scarab is like almost on the level of the Green Lantern, right? It can destroy planets, the world destroyer weapon. But he's still learning how to use it. So that's really where that's really where I'm I think it's the novice stance of Jaime Reyes is going to put him behind. I think he's taking out Spider-Man though. I'll tell you that right now. I think he's taking out Spider-Man.
Blue Beetle takes out Spider-Man.
Yep.
It's almost like even if Jaime just let the sentient being take over for him, he'd have a better time of it.
I feel like I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't have much experience with it as well, but wouldn't it, and couldn't it take over his body if you needed to?
It can. They show it once in the movie, and it's happened a couple times in Young Justice Invasion season.
Yes, I do remember. Yeah. So, yep. I mean, listen, for me, Blue Beetle's washing them all.
Yeah.
Because he got superior technology, and then he also has pretty much a second brain, and more advanced brain, controlling the suit.
You think Blue Beetle's taking out? I guess we're jumping then. You think Blue Beetle's taking out Iron Man and Batman?
Yes. No,
he has a superior technology. First of all, Iron Man, he has superior technology, and once again, he has superior technology with the second brain. Because if anything happens to Jaime, the brain's going, the computer's going to take over and do what it needs to do.
Okay, but that wasn't spoiler. Can't say that. Okay, hang on though.
And then for Batman, I mean, honestly, if it's just a straight up fight and Jaime's not being a punk, he's gonna wash him too, because Batman needs to regroup.
2 words.
Prep time.
That's what I said. That's what I said. He needs to. Batman's like Goku. He needs to get washed first and then come back and be better. Get out of here, man.
All right. What about who did it better? I mean, Spider-Man. I'll say this: the Jaime Reyes version of Blue Beetle, which definitely did come after Peter Parker, I think does do it better character-wise, as far as like banter and young antics and the youthfulness, right? Whereas, obviously, the Blue Beetle Mantlehead spawned in the late 30s, but this version of Blue Beetle might arguably actually be more of a knockoff of a Spider-Man character.
I can see where that comparison comes from, but how many besides Spider-Man, Shazam, how many full-blown teenage main team superheroes do we have? I'm not talking about the Teen Titans. I'm not talking about like the
sidekicks.
I'm not talking about sidekicks. I'm talking about heroes that stand alongside main characters. We don't.
Spider-Man might actually be the first, or definitely one of the first superhero kid characters.
Right. So I don't think it's fair to call him a Spider-Man knockoff. He's a teenager being a teenager. All teenagers are going to share some kind of common mentality. Yeah, common thought process.
Shazam. Yeah, Shazam came out in the late 30s, 40s. Also in Wiz Comics, I think it was maybe 40s. But he's a kid for sure. But his superhero is not a kid. His superhero is an adult version of him.
But his mentality of a kid. So his banter and his interaction is still, even though he's supposed to have the wisdom of Solomon, he still has the banter interaction of a kid.
Right. True.
So
I might say Spider-Man did that better, though. Do I think Spider-Man will win in a fight? Whoosh. No, I guess not.
No.
Right?
No, he wouldn't.
I don't think so.
All right. And what about Iron Man versus Blue Beetle? Who did it better? I mean, Iron Man, his whole thing is robot suits.
Yeah, Iron Man just got the style, the panache, and
he does.
He's just smooth out here. He's not fumbling around in his suit, and even if he is, he makes it look cool, right?
Right, and even when his virtual tech doesn't work, he's got backup tech.
Yeah.
Right.
He got suits for days.
He's got suits for days. Beetle's got one suit, and spoiler, I can't say that. There's reasons why, he's got some flaws, and especially like you're saying, Chris, he's a kind of a nascent superhero. He's new to the scene,
Right.
Okay, and then who did it better? Batman, Blue Beetle. To me, that's a little less comparable.
That's tough because you're comparing the Tom Cord Blue Beetle to Bruce Wayne, not the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. Because Jaime Reyes
Right.
is not a billionaire; he's a kid.
Exactly.
So you're comparing this Blue Beetle to him. Where I don't really know much about this guy, but
Correct.
this is the one that's comparable to Batman.
Which also I would say is a knockoff of Batman because the original Blue Beetle was more like Captain America.
Yeah.
So that Ted Kord Blue Beetle definitely came on the scene after Batman was a little more Batman established.
I like, yeah.
And I also say this again. I guess it would, if we're talking about the Blue Beetle from the movie, his tech in theory trumps all, right? It's like
Right.
his tech, like you said, is supposed to be some sort of world destroyer. And so if it were in the hands of someone like, I don't know, Killmonger, who wasn't afraid to fully use
It
the
would tear the
technology.
world apart.
Washing everybody.
Right, but that's not the case. And the moral code of the character is maybe limiting the severity of the technology itself, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I still gotta say, Batman with 2 words probably wins the match.
I agree. Prep time
and,
always wins.
Prep time. Give him a sensu bean. Prep time. Shut up.
Rich is so salty about the prep time.
Anyway.
And the winner of the debate is Jack.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think we should segue this right into the main topic.
Let's just get this a Blue Beetle, baby.
Great. It's time for the main event. We're talking the MCU's Blue Beetle. I'll give you
Wait,
a
who are we
brief...
talking?
I'm sorry, you're right. DCEU's Blue
Wow.
Beetle.
Are you on a podcast about comic books, TV, anime, and more?
Listen, I'm in the middle of a tropic storm. I'm distracted. All right, so here we go. Cyborg versus Blue Beetle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's a good.
Cyborg versus Blue Beetle.
Because
I
Cyborg
see
has
that.
a lot of the same kind of abilities where he can manifest different blacks and stuff. That would be a dope
good
fight.
call. That's a good one. All right, so who wins? Cyborg versus Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle still.
But is there a way
Cyborg.
where the cyborg could take over the mechanical elements?
It's possible. It's
Blue Beetle's tech?
if he's a computer, it's possible.
Is it though?
I mean, all these facts are made up, so technically anything is possible. So
Whatever. Anyway,
it's possible.
Blue Beetle. Washing all.
I don't know. Maybe Cyborg.
Rich is on the Blue Beetle fan wagon,
Nope.
100%.
Washing.
All right, let's get into the main event.
Superior tech out here. What are we talking about?
We're talking about made up imaginary characters fighting other made up imaginary characters.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the Blue Beetle. I'll try to give you a real brief, spoiler-free synopsis off the top of my head. So, recent college graduate is gifted alien technology that crawls up his butt in an attempt to be symbiotic with him in a arguably non-consensual way. They struggle to overcome their differences to save people. Not necessarily the world, though. Blue Beetle.
Sure.
All right.
Non-consensual penetration. That's Blue Beetle.
Hey, man.
There's a whole lot of that.
You gotta watch the movie. All right, let's get spoiler-free thoughts, and then we'll destroy this thing. Dive into it.
It was mildly entertaining. It's probably was it one of the best things DC has come out so far, movie wise? What has come out so far in DC?
The last thing
Well,
we saw was
Zack
Flash.
Snyder released an 8-hour version of the Justice League. Was pretty incredible.
But that doesn't really count as recent. That was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
Feels recent to me.
It's probably the best thing that DC has come out with so far.
Batman?
Movie wise, when was the last Batman?
The
Batman is it?
Batman.
That's DC.
Yeah.
Did he just say the Batman is at DC?
Was that done by DC or was that done by someone
Did
else?
he just say the Batman is at DC?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
the Batman is DC.
But that wasn't this year though.
No,
That was last year.
Yeah, no, that was 2 years ago too. That was like 2021.
No, was it really?
I'll tell you right now when the Batman came out.
Anyway, like I was saying, try to debo my joint, yo. So yeah, so far is the best DC movie that has come out this year, as I've been
Flash?
saying. And anyway, so yeah, that's it. It was mildly entertaining. It felt very nostalgic.
I agree with you, Rich. Keep going because I agree with you 100%.
This is definitely, I definitely somewhere at some time I've seen something
It's like
set
a
up
90s,
like this.
like a 90s superhero movie.
Yes. I was like, bro, they really just pulled from like the 90s, like early 2000s, something in that range. I'm like, bro, this is seeming kind of dated, but the CGI wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Glowing review from Rich.
Yeah.
Chris,
Well, you know.
spoiler free.
I think it was a fun time. I felt like it was a modern day 90s superhero, a standalone superhero movie. You know, is it the best thing I've ever seen in theaters? No. But was it a good time? I thought the humor was appropriate. I'm looking at you, Ant-Man, Quantum, whatever. Yeah, the humor was appropriate when it was supposed to be there. If it hit you in the feels when it was supposed to hit you in the feels, you know, I think this did what DC does best, and not, making a standalone movie by itself when it's not trying to connect it to everything around it and all the other characters. They can make a decent, fun movie. But when they try to do what Marvel's doing and what everyone else, obviously Legendary, Apple TV, and what every other company is trying to do, and make this whole connected universe, is when it's kind of when it falls short for me. So I like it. I think it was a good time. And it was fun, man. It was just fun.
Okay.
I would echo it was fun, and I would echo that it had this kind of dated quality to it, but for me the dated quality wasn't in a necessarily good way. It was more kind of like in the 90s, there were a lot of lazy scripts, in my opinion. And you had jumps in logic. And then you had characters that just are instantly endowed with other qualities halfway through films because we need someone to be able to do it. So sure, the uncle can be that character. And you're like, wait, what? But where's any of that? What? And like the grandma, and we'll get into all that. And so to me, the script did feel dated, kind of 90s, but not in a good way for me. So I guess that's my spoiler free. Enjoyable, yes, but wait.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing though?
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. It was fun, but maybe a little one-dimensional in other characters. So let's spoil this film. So for anyone watching or listening at this point, we are going to deep dive, the best we deep dive into anything, the Blue Beetle, and we are going to spoil this thing. It may or may not be a linear conversation, so there, you've been prefaced. So the movie starts out with Jaime Reyes coming home from school, meeting his family, and his family informs him inadvertently, hey man, we're losing the house. We're losing the house. We lost the shop. Money's tight, and life is changing. Jaime...
And Dad had a heart attack.
And Dad had a heart attack, right? Yeah. So life is getting tough. Jaime has got a great attitude. He guarantees the family, listen, I'm a college grad. I'm going to have a job. We're going to have a beautiful house with an infinity pool. Cut to, he's standing in front of a beautiful house with an infinity pool. Of course, it's not his. He's working the house, and his sister is putting bubble gum under seats, so he's got job security and can scrape that gum off.
She was hilarious in this movie. I thought she was funny in this movie.
She was all right.
Sister was consistent in her character. She's definitely funny.
Yes.
You know, her
She was
character was
consistent.
written to steal the show, and obviously so was
The grandma or George Lopez.
George Lopez was definitely written to steal the show whenever he was on screen, and he does. George Lopez steals the show, and the sister steals the show when she's in those scenes. She's got the scenes to do it, and she got heart in it too. Anyways, she's got to take a deuce. She definitely does. She asks her brother to stay lookout. Brother pokes his nose into a conversation he probably shouldn't have. But where was that conversation going to end up anyways? That didn't make sense.
I don't know.
Right? What? He was going to punch the girl? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And then I'm trying to get to the part where the movie doesn't start. The movie doesn't start just yet. It's like a lot of build up for the movie to start. So she flushes the toilet, comes out. They both lose their jobs. The brother needs a new job. The girl,
Victoria Cord, who is the sister. I'm not sorry, wow, sister, the daughter of
the niece.
Well, she's the niece, but she's the daughter of obviously the
Ted.
daughter of the main guy who created everything.
And she's supposed to be half Brazilian, right? Because she was
half Brazilian, yeah.
She's fine, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
On that note, she offers him a job, says, show up to my place and I get you a job. Thanks for being kind of heroic. Long story short, he eventually does go to the place, and when he gets there, she gives him the Blue Beetle. Things we missed along the way in that recap is the family dynamic. We get to know Reyes' family, his mom, his grandma, his sister, and uncle, who is hysterical.
Yeah, he's a conspiracy theorist, doesn't trust the government, and
apparently he's a brilliant, scientist and physicist also, inventor and accomplished pilot by the end of the film.
Yeah, right.
None of which actually makes sense, and none of which is in the film.
The Blue Beetle technology was so intuitive that anyone can jump in and fly, or anyone can grab a minigun and blast bad guys.
It looked like it had a lot of buttons. His flying ship reminded me a lot of Night Owl's ship from the Washington.
In fact, the whole classic Blue Beetle looks like Night Owl. Yes. Everything about the classic Blue Beetle is Night Owl.
Yeah. All right, so we skipped a bunch of stuff, but let's start here.
Right. So, are you guys just jaded? Because this was a good time. This was fun.
What?
It
was.
The interaction with the family is funny. Yeah. They're funny the way that they're like overly supportive of Jaime, even when so I'll skip all the part where after she drops a dump, he goes to chase Victoria Cord because she says, "Come see me, and I'll talk to you about a job." He shows up at the building with no appointment, going to go to meet like the CEO, like a board member.
But follow the logic of what happens in that scene for a second. The receptionist says, "Go have a seat," and she'll come down.
Right.
He sees her later coming down the elevator, and he spazzes out.
Right.
She's clearly not coming to have the interview yet. She's doing something else.
She doesn't even know he's there. She's too busy in disguise stealing the scarab because she finds out that her aunt, Susan Sarandon, has discovered the scarab and using it to develop.
We're talking about how he's reacting right now.
Exactly, because he doesn't know that she doesn't know that he's there. Right. All he knows is, she'll come down to talk to you in a minute, sir. Please wait here. So he sees her coming down the elevator, and this dude spazzes out, man. And he's knocking people over, jumping over turnstiles, going down escalators. Hey. And you're like, it was out of nowhere. It's like they superimposed his character's behavior into the conflict of the film in that moment, but it wasn't his conflict. He had no context to behave like that then.
I think that he was so desperate. I read it as he was so desperate to save the house because they were losing their house. Their father had health issues. And they're a tight-knit family. He's going to do anything, and he's not taking no for an answer. So when he sees her leaving, he's like, I'm not letting her leave. She promised me a job. I stepped in, and I saved her. she owes me. I'm getting what's owed to
He
me.
didn't know she
That
was
was
leaving.
no, that wasn't that. My man was love smitten. He was smitten. He wanted to go over there and just try to flex. No. He wasn't looking for no job. He was looking for some booty. All
The
right.
point is,
He was looking for booty.
Can't you be looking for two things?
yeah, you definitely can.
Yeah, I guess.
Neither of which was really kind of flushed out for him, in my opinion, for him to behave that way in that moment,
I
given
don't
the
know, Jack.
information he had.
When you're chasing that booty, sometimes you'll do crazy
He wasn't
things.
tasting anything. He was trying to get a job.
I like Rich's
No.
theory.
And some booty.
So she gives him a hamburger box and says, "Don't open this. Protect it with your life. I'll give you a job. Take it home. Goodbye." He leaves. And the next scene is actually really funny. He cuts to him at home looking at the box on the kitchen table, surrounded by the family, and he's going, "Well, she told me not to open it." And then everyone's like,
Like,
Open it.
open
of
it.
course you have to open it.
I saw this, and I think of my wife's family, whose last name happens to be Reyes also, and I know for a fact that they would say the same exact thing. Why open it? You better open that box. Let's see what's in that box.
Yeah, what? And it's a hamburger box, so it's very
I'll
unassuming.
tell you
Yeah,
right now.
when you get busted, I mean, it's a hamburger box. Not like you're picking a lot.
Speaking of booty, your wife's family don't care about yours, so that's what they'll tell you to do. All right.
You know, the other thing I didn't understand is this movie is set futuristic modern day, right? It's
Right.
modern day, but it's got future tech. So
Right.
I didn't understand the leap of logic to, I mean, I can tell you my parents have 10 cameras around their house. I mean, it's a big yard, but they got eyes. No one's sneaking in there.
Mm.
This is like the top of the top.
Yeah, this is
Facility.
like Q level security.
And
because
they didn't. They couldn't backtrack the video to where the scarab was in there and then wasn't in there. And she walks out in full clothes, holding a box, which we see her give to Reyes. And you're telling me they didn't instantly know that?
Figure out where that went. Like, go ahead.
Where's the box?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a hard leap for me, especially when they're dealing with technology that is so advanced and cutting edge. I don't believe there wasn't a camera in the building.
You know what, Jack? It would have been better if the scarab was already chosen Jaime, and we see the scarab mess with the cameras so that he can guarantee that the scarab can guarantee that he can get to Jaime as a host, and that would have made more sense.
Hey, Chris, it's Ronnie's dad.
What?
I don't know. You got someone popping up in the feed to talk to you.
What's going on? Hey, Robin, that's everything. Nice. So people actually watch and follow
Yo,
us.
we got like 3 people watching this video right now.
4,
Brent,
Jack.
Mark.
4.
Oh, 4. We'll take it, man. Thanks for supporting. So we're talking about Blue Beetle. So
4.
I agree that one might have made sense, but they hadn't really come in contact yet. So how would the Beetle even know about the Reyes character? So they get home. Long story short, the thing attacks him, crawls up his butt, maybe not, and takes over him. He has this whole beta test run where the thing is checking its diagnostics while I assume it's also checking out their compatibility diagnostics. It's chosen them. So it's kind of like a Venom moment, right? It's like the parasite is taking over.
It's a symbiotic relationship. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship. I'll tell you this. I would think a crossover movie that would be enjoyable would be Spider-Man and Blue Beetle together. And you put Spider-Man in like his Iron Spidey suit. And I know we're not getting that back anymore, but that actually might be
for those rights, Jack. That's what I want to know.
Hey man, DC and Marvel crossover all the time in the 90s.
'90s.
And this movie had a kind of 90s dated vibe to it.
I agree. I mean, I agree 100% had a 90s vibe.
Not happening. All right.
You're right. So let's keep pushing. So then what happens in the movie? The big bad Susan Sarandon character wants to get the Beetle back. I got to tell you, I had major problems with Susan Sarandon's character. Not her as an actress. She is an incredible actress. But that character on page had like no dimensionality to her.
She was the mustache twirling villain, Jack.
He was a mustache twirling villain.
We all we've been getting are these deep villains lately. And it's we finally get a one-dimensional. I'm gonna be bad just for the sake of being bad, just so I can get this money villain, and we complain.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Jaded, man. We are so jaded. We can't just have a one-dimensional bad guy that's just a bad guy to be a bad guy.
But look at all the backstory they tried to cram into her henchman at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Like, they crammed in so much heart and humanity into her mustache twirling henchman at the end of the film that was almost too much to stomach.
Well, that explains why why what was his name?
Carapax? I forgot.
Yeah. He had a weird name that didn't go with a Guatemalan dude, but
it didn't. I'm like, wait a minute. What? Carapax? Why are we calling him that?
Yeah, he sounded like Halo, but all right.
Well, his suit looked like Halo.
Yeah, that's we're jumping too far ahead, but keep going.
So, okay.
Oh, right. Is that me? All right. So anyway, so then we introduce Susan Sarandon's character, like actively trying to get the Beetle back.
Right.
She attacks the family. The middle part of this movie is just one big kind of like mashup fight scene.
Yeah, so she attacks the family. The house. They have. So first of all, they're like, we're authorized to use deadly force. I'm like, who the hell authorized you? You're a private security team. You don't have authorization to use deadly force on U.S. ground.
I just kept thinking about all her henchmen, right? And I kept seeing the people inside the mask going, what job do I have?
What am I doing?
And they're all just getting like killed, and they're like they're like working for like the worst person on the planet. Like,
so
how
you
do these
would think
people
they're like mercenaries, right? All these guys, we're assuming they're like ex-mercenaries, right? They're like,
they felt like stormtroopers to me. Like,
yeah,
it was it was definitely because they all had motorcycle helmets on. That's why.
Yeah. That's why. And you see in one point of the movie, like the visor's up on one of them, and he feels very helpless.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him.
Well, in that scene, the Beetle mobile, whatever you want to call it, was falling on him. So yeah, he
wasn't just falling on him. He was like the leg was like
punched a hole in his chest. He
couldn't even get one of them off. Like, this movie was on some level pretty, and like the only person who had any problem with killing was Jaime.
Right.
Everyone
not
else,
the uncle and not the grandmother. But we're jumping way ahead.
So Jaime didn't kill anyone. He specifically said, "Yo, no killing." So he was putting up like repulsor rays and whatnot.
That's right. He was the only character who had a problem with killing.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone else was like, "Let's kill everybody."
Right.
Let's get to murdering.
So the cord company comes. They storm their house. They take him out of their house. They knock over a candle. The house catches fire. Jaime comes in, starts.
How was the movie?
Starts
fun, but it had problems.
But they hit the dad with the butt of the gun. The dad has a heart attack. The dad dies. And then,
we jump. So before the dad dies, Cord's daughter takes them to her house. Right. And so we get introduced to the original Blue Beetle, who's actually the second of the three Blue Beetles, and then they allude to there being a first Blue Beetle who was hooked up to the Scarab, which is cool because that's actually how it is when you look at the overarching mythos of the character. There was three Blue Beetle mantles. The first one had power from the Scarab. The second one, the Ted character, was more like a billionaire scientist.
Gadgets that wasn't sure if they worked or not.
Yeah, like wacky gadgets.
Sometimes they worked.
Pretty cool wacky gadgets. And then the third one is the one we're following in the movie. So they go to the second Blue Beetle's mansion, Batcave, and we get introduced to that whole thing, right? Yeah. While they're there, they're researching how to remove the Scarab from Jaime, which is Chris's least favorite trope in hero films.
And I was so happy when the uncle was like, so Jaime runs off all sad because, oh no, I have superpowers now. What am I going to do? Idiot. You have the greatest thing. Just live it up. And then the uncle comes and is like, this is the greatest thing that's endowed to our family, and this is a great responsibility, blah blah blah. Like be pretty much the same typical be a hero speech and embrace what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
glad that scene ended as quickly as it began, because I hate that trope more than anything else in all superhero-ness.
Right. And it made sense in the beginning because it wasn't like the machine. It was like his whole body was being possessed by the thing. So
Right.
sure, you go, he's terrified and the thing's cutting buses in half and shot him into space. And maybe that can be jarring for a person. But at this point in the movie, you're like, they understood that what was happening. And it's the first time, we see his character start embracing the symbiotic nature of the relationship, right?
Right.
So he jumps off the balcony of the estate,
Oh yeah.
and
'Cause
flies to.
he was trying to activate the suit.
Very much like Shazam in the Shazam, was it 2, where he jumps off and he yells in the air and the bolt hits him in the chest? It was very much the same kind of thing. Like, he jumps off a building, all of a sudden that's when he morphs and changes. And
Yeah. So we got a comment in the feed. Jeffrey Miller says, sounds like a cookie cutter superhero. Well, kind of. There were things that made it different or special, and I'd say it's entirely maybe the casting and the characterization of the character itself. Otherwise, the
It
script
was
was
cookie
pretty.
cutter.
The script is pretty paint by numbers,
Yeah.
and just to kind of overview the whole thing, it does have the trope that you see in almost every superhero movie. You see the superhero get powers, there's the learning curve, he gets defeated, he has to come back stronger, they reunite with whatever that power source is, and ultimately they win.
right.
And so you see the same. So if that's cookie cutter in nature, then yes, it's kind of a paint by numbers telling. But unfortunately, what is largely true with this content is they all kind of follow that format.
So you know what would have given me? I wish that when we got into this, we found they told us very, very little about the Scarab itself. They made one
Very little.
mention to the Scarab being a world destroyer. Also, we had very, very little interaction with Jaime and the Scarab. Whereas if you look at a movie like Venom, the whole half the movie he's going back and forth with the symbiote in his head.
That's true.
Here we have such little interaction, and I think to get away from that cookie cutterness, they should have given us more of that. Because even if you watch the Young Justice, whenever we have Blue Beetle on screen and whenever that Blue Beetle's fighting, it's always a debate on how to approach a situation, because the Scarab wants to do things one way and he wants to do things another way. And I think they should have embraced that more, as opposed to being a superhero guy fight, with just powers.
That's interesting, because there was never a sense like the Scarab wanted control. Other than it wasn't like the Scarab looked for a host. It was like the Scarab chose him, but didn't choose him as a vehicle for itself.
Yeah.
And so that interesting kind of conflict dynamic wasn't ever really present in the script, right? Other than the fact that there was a learning curve for them, but no more than like Terminator 2, where the kid's going, "We don't kill," and the Terminator's going, "I shot him in the leg," right?
Yeah.
Kill, live.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
I think the thing was, because the Scarab because even in Young Justice, wasn't the Scarab damaged? It wasn't following his real programming or his true programming.
Oh, I think you're right, because it wasn't the true program to actually blow up the world or something like that.
Yeah, it was supposed to take over hosts, right?
Yeah,
and then also, and then you go with Venom. Venom had so much dialogue. Brock had so much dialogue with Venom because Venom wanted to eat everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But in Venom's case, the host was a way for Venom to survive. In this case, that's not really the case.
But to be fair, to compare this, Venom is a masterpiece of our generation, so it's tough to compare anything to.
Okay.
You need to stop.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Now, what we do get, though, is at the beginning of the film, in the credit sequence, we almost get more backstory for the Scarab than at any other point, because you see several different Scarabs of several different colors shooting through the cosmos, and it looked like that one hit a planet, deflected through another planet, exploded a third planet, and somehow got sent on a course towards Earth.
Yeah.
right? But there was a yellow scarab, there was a red scarab, there were like a whole bunch of other things. It was like the Power Rangers colors floating through the cosmos at the top of the film. So you're like, and I don't know enough about the content to know about that.
I don't either. Like I said, really, Blue Beetle's not really a major character of the DC universe, and
Well,
I only got the Blue Beetle after only Young Justice.
Yeah, true. Same.
Well, Blue Beetle wasn't originally a DC character. DC acquired Blue Beetle in the 80s, I believe.
Interesting.
And the Blue Beetle had already, before DC acquired Blue Beetle, he was already in the second version of him. He was in the Ted
Cord.
version of Blue Beetle, and that's the version that DC acquired. I mean, they bought all of the rights to Blue Beetle, but that's what Blue Beetle was when they picked him up. He was more of the Batman character. And then he turned into like a supporting team character, and he had a short limited run. So, like, there was actually a lot of Blue Beetle stuff before he became DC.
Yeah.
But that's true with a lot of characters. You know, like Captain Marvel wasn't originally... Shazam wasn't originally a DC character either. DC acquired
that one I knew. I didn't know about Blue Beetle though.
Yeah.
It was American comic books published in the 1939. Okay, cool.
Right. So, okay, so then where are we at?
So he jumps off the building. He goes to the house. That's when we have the firefight at the house.
That's when ICE tried to deport them. What?
Say again?
ICE tried to deport them?
Hey.
So so there's the huge fight that ensues. The house catches on fire. His dad has a heart attack, and subsequently, Blue Beetle gets distracted and caught in a giant electric hook.
Technically, Rich is not being racist because they did say that they don't have their papers.
They did say that.
The dad didn't have the papers and the grandmother didn't have the papers. So that's a very, very, very real possibility.
Right, but the uncle was fine and the mom was okay.
That's it. It's true.
Yeah.
So they shoot the Blue Beetle with this hook, which is interesting that they'd have this hook in the plane. This is an example of where the film kind of fails for me. It's like they needed the Blue Beetle to get caught so they could power up the other guy's suit. So they invent this. Oh, well, of course, she's got this technology that knows how to interact with the Blue Beetle, and it's going to fry its system so they can catch him in this moment. And it's not like they have a bunch of like EMP type weapons that are going to short his system. They got one hook with one harpoon shot in it.
Make it count.
And they net them.
Got him.
And they make it count, right? So all the technology that this world-devouring thing has couldn't dodge one missile. Okay, cool, whatever. I guess so. So they catch him. The dad dies. The whole family dynamic blows apart. And then the next thing we know is he's hanging upside down. The daughter of the second Blue Beetle, the original Blue Beetle in this film, takes the family back to her place, says, let's go. Well, the grandma's got a cool moment. She says, now's not the time to cry. We honor the dad by saving the son.
Right.
And there'll be a time to mourn, but right now it's a time to fight. And that's when Ted's daughter shows up and says, listen, maybe I can help with this capacity. Let me take you back to my beetle lair.
Now you have all the resources in the world, you billionaire. You wait for our house to burn down, and now you could help.
Well, in her defense, the uncle hadn't exactly showed up on the scene ready to fly technology that no one knows exists yet. And let's talk about the uncle character for a second. Other than the fact that George Lopez is so much fun, the character makes zero sense to me.
Why?
On page?
I mean, he did it. He didn't at
No,
all.
he
Right?
didn't.
Like, what is this mullet and then the big goatee and the painted nails? Like, what is this guy? Who is this guy? This
The
guy's like
second I
50. Like, what are we doing right now?
The
He's not-
second
he's
you
not-
put a spoiler on the back of his truck, I understood him.
Oh,
It was
Well,
like,
God.
okay,
Well,
I guess
Jack,
I
that's
get who
not.
that is.
He has an AutoZone special all over his truck. That's not really that far of a reach, Jack.
But
That
how
really
did this
isn't.
guy? But his truck wasn't modded out. Like if a guy who creates
Listen,
technology,
to him, it was modded out. Okay.
Yeah. That was
but
the
this guy created a signal jamming device that took down the state of the art facility.
that played Chess Burrito.
Right.
I don't know what that is. What
Yeah,
is that?
my wife's grandfather used to watch it all the time. My wife used to watch it. If you're Spanish, I guess you watch it.
So here's what I go.
Oh, wait, that's the
all
little
right.
bee dude?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, Jack. Go on.
Well, I'm saying sometimes I'll watch a movie and I have to give a thing a pass. I go, okay, I give it a pass. And I got that from my buddy Malcolm, who was generous enough to teach me that there's ways of watching films where you don't have to denounce the whole film. You just kind of got to go with the flow, and he would give a movie a pass. All right, I give that one a pass. And so when the uncle character who's a fanatic, if you were in tinfoil on his head, I would understand that. But he ends up being like a scientist guy who's creating technology. And I go, okay, I'll give that one a pass. But when he starts flying the ships, I go, where was that? It would have made more sense for the grandma to be the freedom fighter who flew helicopters back in the day, so she's flying the ship. I didn't understand how the uncle was the one
Like
flying
I
the
said,
ship.
the way I read it was the Blue Beetle technology was so intuitive that anyone can jump in and fly with no.
I mean, he started it by kicking it, so
Yeah,
it couldn't
He
be
knows
that
what to
hard,
do.
right?
that's
Okay.
true.
So she equips them with her father's wildly futuristic and cool devices that are also bootleg and janky. How do they manage to be both things at once? I don't know, but I think Fred Savage used that glove in that movie where he was
When I saw that, I'm like, what are we doing?
It was.
right. So the family goes on an epic journey to save the son. The grandma ends up being some sort of freedom fighter.
Down with the imperialists.
Yo, man, she just wants to kill people, and it's weird.
She got that
It's
blood.
actually
Yeah.
weird. She got bloodlust. It's a little like
She's
odd.
gangster. She's taken lives before, and she doesn't. It doesn't phase her.
No,
It does not faze
she enjoys it, and that's the part that's odd. It's like the whole family dynamic surrounding this hero who has a strong moral compass almost has no moral compass, which is odd. It's not like the family's heroic. He's heroic and doesn't want to hurt people, but everyone else just want to kill people. Like they
I mean,
want
look,
to
I
kill
think
people.
their code is different, right?
Clearly.
So she grew up, fighting and killing, and everything was a fight. And Jaime grew up cushy here, the Florida Keys. It's different, man.
Right.
You Florida Keys? That's what you got?
That's where it was. In the Keys.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that more like somewhere like South Cali. Like
No, it was the Florida Keys.
it's a lot of Mexicans.
So two things happen simultaneously here. The family concocts a plan where it's almost like Star Wars, where they're going to go down the rabbit hole to do the thing. Anyways, they concoct a plan where they're going to go through the tunnels, which is also not what they end up doing. But they're going to go through the tunnels to shut off power to the grid, not knowing that he's hooked up to a thing that's sucking his power out. But whatever, they're going to shut off power to the grid. Hey, yo, they're going to shut off power to the grid in an attempt to buy Jaime a chance to kind of escape, and they're going to get him out. So what ends up happening is two things happen at the same time. Jaime is going on like this existential journey through his mind. Black Panther moment where he's in the astro world, and he's having a moment with his dad. And I guess he's in a crossroads where he's either going to step over the line and go on to whatever's after this world, or he's going to sync up with the symbiote. And he chooses to sync up with the symbiote. This also subsequently corresponds in the identical timeline where the daughter of the original Blue Beetle and his sister managed to cut power to the grid. So in the same moment he actually syncs with the symbiote, the power is severed. And so whether the power needed to be severed or not is kind of debatable. He might have been just fine, but it's shut off, so he's able to escape. And then,
Can we talk about how racist Susan Sarandon is? Where she
Oh,
keeps
she's-
calling that
she's-
dude Sanchez,
Listen,
and he's
Sanchez.
like, that's not my name. He just picked a random Spanish name to call this dude because
Listen,
she's a huge
Sanchez.
racist.
Easy, Raul.
her character is unnecessarily racist. It's like she was already villainous enough that we didn't like her, but now we have to really. She's just a powerful Karen, you know,
Powerful Karen, yeah.
right?
Karen with money.
She's Karen with money. Right. So anyway, the next thing that happens is the big fight ensues, and while they had Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle hooked up to the machine, they were superpowering the Omax. Now, what's interesting about the Omax is the Omax storyline was a humongous DC storyline that basically wiped out half of the heroes during the time. It was a big Batman, Superman.
Yeah, that
Omax.
was recent. That was like late 90s, early 2000s, right?
It was a huge thing. And so I'm thinking that that's what they're creating here. I'm like, are these the Omax? And then sure enough, it's like the Matrix worth of Hive. There's like thousands of OMAC bots ready to like take over bodies. So you're like, yo, this is epic what they're actually telling here. But then that's not what they're telling here. They destroy all those, and only one guy who ends up being his own tragic character gets the actual OMAC power, kind of.
It didn't make sense because, like, hold on, you stopped the power and it was killing him because it was transferring the power or the data or whatever it was to the OMAC. But then as soon as you drop the power, it still completed the download or the power transfer, and Homeboy's still alive. Like, what was like? Did he really need to like what?
Well, keep this in mind. Before they started the transfer, the scientist whose name was
Raul?
Raul.
No, it wasn't Raul. It was Sanchez.
Whatever his name was, said he may or may not die during the course of this, and Susan Sarandon's character said, well, whether he lives or die, let's kill him after. So we didn't know whether he was going to live or die.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
He ends up living. Giant battle happens. Him and the other guy duke it out. Blue Beetle loses the fight, but then wins the fight, but then loses the fight. And it wasn't like, and all throughout the fight, the sentient being in his mind kept kind of saying, we're done. We've lost. Yeah. So it wasn't really that powerful, but then I guess it was.
Well, he kept saying that he was concussed and all this other stuff happened, and then
I
finally
think they could have.
Uncle Rudy he thinks his uncle gets blasted apart, but he survives.
Well, Uncle Rudy does the classic trope where he's throwing rocks at the big bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you know the battle's going to start. It's like if there's black people, you throw a chair. If it's a superhero movie, you throw rocks, and then that's how you know it's about to go down.
Well, it went down, and then Rudy got blasted, but I guess he didn't get blasted. And then my question was, who was flying the machine if Rudy's hanging on the rope at the end of it? He was the one flying it.
Grandma was. Nah, Grandma was flying it.
Grandma was flying it?
Yeah, she was flying it.
Anybody could fly this machine, apparently.
Pretty
Anyways,
good.
So yeah, right, exactly. WTF is what's going on, was kind of what was going on. So Blue Beetle ends up winning the fight, but he also doesn't win the fight. He just kind of stops fighting, and he lets the other guy, who's the big bad OMAC character, who then we get his whole backstory as a kid rewinding, which was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a child soldier. And
no, it rewound. It rewound from his present back and back and back further. So it kept giving us more history as it went
Yeah,
on.
because he had that picture in the locket, and
Right.
you would think it might have been his kid and his wife.
His wife, but it ends up being him and his mom by the time the story reverses all the way back, right?
Yeah.
And by the end of it, you're like, wow, he has every reason to kill this woman, right? Not that we condone violence of any sort, but this is a comic book movie.
No, we do. We condone
she needs
and if anyone's going to get there, but then he does it in a really weird way too. It's like he's finally sees himself, and the audience finally identifies with him as a person, and he decides to kill himself. He decides to blow himself up and take her with him.
He drags her.
He's a product of their creation, so he was trying to get rid of what they created and get rid of her at the same time. That's the way I saw it.
He certainly did all that, but how he knew that overloading his reactor was going to explode him in some sort of supernova that was so impossible. I mean, that explosion was epic. And then, of course, again, we get the classic trope where the vehicle is consumed in fire and then spits out inside of it.
Yeah, then you saw Grandma flying it. That's why I said Grandma was flying.
Jack, if there's fire, you have to jump a vehicle through the fire. That's the rule. That's the superhero rule.
That has to happen, no matter what it is. Spaceships, cars, planes, it has to happen. Yeah. Have we not seen enough of it in Fast and Furious? Come on.
But how did the Blue Beetle not be able to fly at that point? He'd been flying the whole movie, but at this point, he needed to be rescued.
I mean, he was blasting his Beetlejuice all over the place. He was tired. He needed
a rest. Yes, he was.
All right.
And then the Omacs are destroyed. Susan Sarandon Karen is gone. The big bad Omac is gone. And the family... The end of the movie here's our resolution. The family is back in front of their house that had burned down. Mm-hmm. And the grandma says... Now we can mourn, and they do. They have a group mourning session.
They were in the ship for that, and then they went back to the thing, and then the whole.
You're right. Who was flying the ship at that point?
It was on autopilot, man. Come on, Jack.
That's right. Sorry.
All right, and then after that, we cut. They're now back. After the funeral, they're all gathering around, and they're like, "Well, what are we gonna do?" And then here comes the community. Here's all this food. They throw a party. Here we going. And they're like, well, how are we going to do this, that, and the third? And then here comes sweet booty Jenny coming over.
Wow. Yes, she does.
She was like, hey, we got y'all. Don't worry about it. And
I thought she was going to give him the Blue Beetle mansion. She's like, no, I'm going to fix it.
She was too.
Your broken ass house. I'm going to fix it up. I'm going to give you guys $50. And that's
we're going to put a second story on that house. And and then gave Uncle, what was his name? Rudy? Yeah, Uncle Rudy gave him a pretty pimp Toyota Tacoma. I'm not gonna lie.
That's like the TRD Pro package,
right? But he didn't even like it. He didn't like it because
he liked it. He was trying to, he's trying to play cool because she was a fascist, so you can't be like, oh yeah.
Right.
But he got into that car. He was like, yeah. Actually, he was like, he told the niece like, come convince me to like this car.
Right, and then Blue Beetle gets a boner.
He gets a boner.
The alien says, "Hey man, you got a lot of blood in your nether region."
Got himself a blue boner.
Man, stay in my pants.
Did he kiss the girl? Or did he end up getting blue balls?
No, he kissed the girl.
No, he kissed her.
Yeah, he kissed her. And took her
and then they rocketed it off.
They rocketed it off all right. Hey.
Yeah, he sure did.
And then our show got canceled after this episode. And then the post-credit scene was really, that's what happens. We're not making it up. We're skipping all the details, but that is what happens. And then the post-credit scene, we have the second blue. Huh?
It's a transmission from
Ted. Can you say the guy's name?
No, it's not Ted. It's someone else because he's like, tell her dad is alive. I thought it was someone else.
Father.
I didn't think it was
the father, whatever the father's name was.
Ted Cord? Was it the father? I thought it was someone else. I was telling him like,
it was someone else.
He was like, her father's alive. Tell her that. Tell her, Jenny. Tell my daughter her father's alive. I'm like,
exactly.
Come on.
So
this
we
what I waited for. Good thing you don't have to wait long for it. For those who actually wants to go out and see this movie, it's literally pretty much like right after. So you don't have to wait long for the post-credit scene.
And there's an end credit scene too.
No, there isn't. Shut up.
Yes, there is.
Well, I didn't stay for that. Tell me what it is.
You didn't miss much. It was Chespirito again, and then George Lopez saying something over the Chespirito. That's it. That was it.
Okay. Anyway, so there might be a
sequel. So we do get we do get that the second of the 3 Blue Beetles is Mythos in this and still alive. So how that plays out, and also we know that James Gunn's taken over the whole mantle of the DCEU, and how much of any of this is going to translate into the next film or films after that, who knows? But it looks like this film is doing successful. Now, I'll also say they do mention Superman and they do mention Batman in this film.
Yeah.
So we know that this world has metahumans and heroes and villains. So that seed is at least planted enough where they could pick it up. And it's definitely not Zack Snyder tone. You know, it's not dark and jaded and
You know you love it.
it doesn't have that kind of depth
You missed
to
it.
it.
You missed it.
And the movie is not 8 hours.
Go on, tell how much you love Daddy Zack Snyder, huh?
Hey, listen, I'm a huge Zack Snyder fan. Don't get it twisted. And when you give Zack enough time to tell his masterpieces, they really they pop. But you about 8 hours.
After 4 hours in to an 8 hour movie.
4 hours in. All right, so that's our take on Blue Beetle. So we, what did I miss? Should we rank this thing or?
Let's rank. Let's rank it.
I'm gonna let y'all go first.
I think I got to give it a 6, and okay. I think that's being pretty fair. Here's my issue with it. The theater I viewed it in, it looked good.
Mm.
I enjoyed the performances for the most part, but the story, the jumps in logic, didn't help me enjoy the ride consistently. Although I was glad I watched it on a matinee, so I spent less than $10. And to watch the movie for less than $10, I'm very happy about that. I wasn't thrilled about going to it. I kind of wanted to see the Dracula movie that had just come out a little more.
Yeah, really?
The Voyage of the Last whatever.
That's kind of what I was like feeling like I wanted to watch, but we watched Blue Beetle, so that's what I watched. And listen, I was happy with that. I enjoyed it for what it was. To me, it wasn't lighting any rivers on fire, but it also wasn't bad. And I think 6 is a good score. I'm not saying 6 disrespectfully, but it's not great and it's not bad. It's better than average.
You're not that far off. I give it a 7. I think I liked it. I thought it was a good time. I think they missed a lot of opportunities to kind of differentiate it from, they missed opportunities with the Scarab, the interaction with the Scarab and Jaime. But I like the comedy. I like the tone. I like that it was kind of doing its own thing. And I'm glad I watched it. So 7 is where I'm at.
Okay. Well, I'm giving this a 5. This was mid. All right. This was like a 1990s. Well, like I didn't understand what was going on here. I don't know who decided to be like, listen, I got this script that I got from 1995, blew the dust off of it. Let's make this happen. Blue Beetle all day. I didn't understand what was happening. Other than that, the performance is all right. It wasn't bad. It was mildly entertaining. I definitely fell asleep like when they went to the mansion, somewhere in that part there. Woke up, they were in the mansion. He was explaining what was going on. I was like, cool.
You fell asleep during the film?
Oh yeah.
You got a track right here, man. Well, let me ask you this one: what about diversity in the film? Like, this is something we don't.
There was a lot of Mexicans. Yeah, you're right. It was diversely Mexican.
When 90% of the superhero content we consume and we get is white guys,
I was expecting it to be like a very Hispanic, like a very Hispanic casted audience because the main character is Hispanic, so like it's like going to Black Panther and expecting like a lot of white guys. Like no, you're going to get a whole bunch of black folk. All right, you're going to see a whole bunch of us around. All right, so I mean the cast was the cast. I mean I think they did fairly well with them. With the grandmother was entertaining. The sister was all right. The mother was the mother. The father was very. I noticed that
the mother was a mother.
The mother was the mother. She was there. She was doing things. The father, I noticed that I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I grew up in a hard, not a hard family, but I grew up. My father was a little tough. He was, kind of one of those stoic types. So seeing a father like touch, getting very like sincere with their kid and touching
Well,
faces, I
the
thought
thing that made no
that was
sense
pretty
with
sweet.
the father, there's that one scene after Jaime loses his job, and right before he decides to go try to get the other job with the lady who's he finds attractive. He's got that scene with his father where his father's outside drinking alcohol, maybe tequila or vodka or something like that.
Why does it be tequila, Jack?
That's racist.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Well,
was
you look at the
like
bottle.
25-year bottle of scotch. Jeez.
Right. Why can't we drink a Macallan, Jack?
Oh my
No, it was
God.
clear liquid, though.
Was it, though? Was it a little bit brown like their skin color?
He was drinking liquor. He wasn't drinking beer.
All right, there.
And the kid comes out and says, "You drinking pop?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And then here's what was funny to me. They talk about your purpose. And the dad in that moment says, "Son, my purpose was to be right here, right now, to have this conversation with you." And then the dad stands up and he leaves the scene. And I'm like, wait, what?
That was
he had the conversation. Like, it's time for bed.
But that's the movie. The movie, like that's the movie. I sum the movie up like that. So, Rich, you gave it a 5. Chris, you gave it a 7. I gave it a 6. The average is 6. And that's our take on Blue Beetle. For those of you who stuck around this conversation, although I'm sure it was
tens of listeners, tens of watchers,
maybe not so. I don't know how much sense our conversation just made, but thanks for joining in. And that's our take on Blue Beetle. Chris, you want to close us off with some recommendations?
Sure, I do. So since Blue Beetle was, I got a new graphic for recommendations. Look at us.
We're moving on up.
Okay.
This thing for look, there's not much for clip art images of recommendations, Rich. So, yeah, we talked about it like 40 times already. This felt like a 90s origin movie. Here's some 90s origin movies. If you want to get kind of where this spiritually came from, here's some movies from the 90s that you should watch.
Great.
Spawn.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Which
The Phantom.
Okay.
Steel is terrible, but in the best way.
These are movies you're recommending people watch?
Oh yeah. Do you tell me you didn't like Steel? Come on, you get to hear Shaq rap. And he gets to wear a plastic suit that's supposed to be metal. Come on.
Honestly, man. I can tell you none of these movies hold up.
Oh, I'm not. This is not Chris's 90s movies that held up. These are just guilty pleasure 90s superhero movies. That's it.
Okay, so random origin stories from the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Jack, we got to ice skate uphill with some Blade.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Judge Dredd.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy Dredd. I'll still watch Dredd.
None of these are in the vein of Blue Beetle.
No, Blue Beetle's in the vein of these movies. You're absolutely right, Jack. None of these are in the vein. Blue Beetle is in the vein of these movies. Blue Beetle felt like I was watching a 90s movie. I said it to Lawrence. I talked to Lawrence 3 hours ago, and the exact thing I said to him is like, "What do you think of this movie?" I felt like I was watching a 90s superhero movie. That's how it felt.
Yeah. Even with the city with the holograms flowing all over thing, that looked like a Judge Dredd, like a Total Recall or something. Like, what are we talking about?
It didn't make sense. I was confused. I was like, where are we? Are we in like Blade Runner here?
Yeah.
like a bright Blade Runner. It doesn't rain.
Things don't need to make perfect sense. So this is where we're at. So that's my recommendation. Here's Sebastian. You want to show you
shooting paintballs? What's happening?
So one of the things that we've been making. So what we like to do is the last minute of the show, Sebastian likes to show off something. So today, Sebastian's showing off his Nerf gun that has all the attachments, all of them. We printed these. Almost. There we go. We printed these holders on both sides.
Okay.
The weaver rails. He has the suppressor. He has this, the handle, the clip. the scope. I bought this. People get way too into Nerf guns, but yeah, he has that.
He
Nerf
says
guns,
as we-
airsoft guns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people meaning me.
clearly.
And then we went out and we got Sebastian a tactical vest that he has all his gear in.
Nice. All right.
You
Is
can
that
see my
a knife?
gear?
Yep, he has a
I'm sorry. Your
side.
beer? What?
Not
Gear.
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 Oh, your gear. Okay, I thought he said beer. I'm like, what are we doing over here? Can we call
Nope.
CPS? What's going on?
Extra bullets.
All right, got more bullets. All right, more bullets. And what we got in there? We got bullets. You
More
got a tourniquet.
This is
I'm
a
done.
flashlight holder for this gun.
Yeah.
Hold on. Look at it.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
What else you got?
Somewhere.
I
in
did
there.
not-
Hurry up! Hurry up! You
Yeah.
got 30 seconds. Hurry up! 30 seconds. We're running out of time. We're losing our tens of listeners.
And he has a backup guns and
And a
throwing
Black Panther
darts.
claw.
Oh, Black Panther claws. Look at that. Okay.
So he's ready for battle. And show me your wrist.
And more bullets.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's almost like Black Widow's thing.
It is.
Yeah, that kind of looks
But
like
for
that.
men, Jack. But for men.
But for men.
Yeah, man. All kinds. Well, very cool. Thank you for sharing that.
What's up? Oh, you got a belt too.
You
All
too.
right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
his belt here.
Oh, very
Oh,
nice.
all right.
So it's a mix of a tactical vest, a stormtrooper costume, a paintball mask, and a Nerf gun. And that's
Okay.
Sebastian's armor that he's been running around in.
Awesome.
Nice.
Also, the actual kind of Nerf gun in it is a machine Nerf gun.
A machine Nerf gun. I hear it. I heard it whining. Yeah. Got it.
And that's all we
All
got for
right.
you guys today.
Well,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting in the feed. Like,
That's a sh-
subscribe.
Like,
and,
comment, subscribe. Hit that bell button for more notifications.
There you
Look
go.
at the rest of our content. We got a lot of stuff going on. Unboxings. You got Chris is playing with toys and grading toys. You got Sebastian doing things with toys.
Yep.
You got Jack painting stuff. Oh, you got Chris making stuff and painting stuff. And you
Yep.
got me kind of being there doing things. I don't know what I'm doing. And you got Lawrence looking all sexy like he usually does. Hey,
Yep.
hey, lady, he's taken. And that's it. Hit us up next time. We're doing live streams every Sunday from now on. 7:00, or we're gonna try to get there at 7:00. You know, sometimes it's hard getting to some of these people. I'm not gonna
Well, you
say
know,
who.
there's a lot of colored folk on this podcast. So.
Listen, I'm not gonna say who, but we try to get y'all every Sunday, 7:00. Try to get all four of us. If not, one or two. Well, at least two. At least two. You're at least gonna get two of us. So hit us up, and that's it. We done. Same bad time.
Whoop.
And Matt Turner.
Oh, look at him! That boy don't miss.
Peace.